does it mean to be mentally healthy? Let us start with something easy like asking an AI to have a leading of general knowledge collected through many websites and textbooks. So, here I have used Gemini to give me the answer to the problem, and it says mental health is about how you feel and think and behave. It's more than just the absence of mental illness. Here's what it generally means to be mentally healthy. Emotional well-being. Experiencing a range of emotions and being able to manage them effectively. This includes things like feeling happy, sad, angry, and anxious at times. But being able to cope with these emotions in a healthy way is also good. Psychological well-being. Feeling good about yourself, having a sense of purpose and meaning in life, and being able to cope with stress. Social well-being. Building and maintaining strong relationships with others, feeling connected to your community, and being able to contribute to society. Gemini also says key aspects of good mental health are to have resilience, self-awareness, self-care, effective communication, and last but not least, to be able to seek support for your own self when you need help. But it's also important to remember that mental health is a spectrum in which not everyone experiences the same nor have the perfect mental health. Mental health is influenced by a variety of factors too, which includes genetics, life experience, and social environment. And lastly, prioritizing mental health is crucial for overall well-being. But all of that is just a general knowledge, just like I said before. And those are just informational purposes only and do not constitute in medical advice. Through researching on the internet and listening to people's stories online, I can say that what Gemini said is pretty much very accurate. The National Institute of Mental Health website stated that self-care like regular exercises, eating healthy, practicing gratitude, and more would most likely make you feel healthier. Some might not fit for you, but through trials and error would most likely lead to you discovering what would fit you. The National Institute of Mental Health also states that seeking help when you are experiencing severe of distressing symptoms like difficulty in sleeping, changes in appetite, or unplanned weight changes, difficulty of getting out of bed in the morning, cause of mood, difficulty concentrating, lose of interest in things you usually find enjoyable, feelings of irritability, frustration, or restlessness, and finally, inability to complete usual tasks and activities. Coming from the BC Mental Health and Substance Use Service website, effective communication like face-to-face connection, talking to someone, and staying active is going to open yourself to more positivity that would affect you on the run. Appealing to your senses, taking up a relaxation practice, making leisure and contemplation on a priority could also help, but the most important thing I think everyone should do, which is also stated in BC Mental Health and Substance Use Service website. Don't skimp on your sleep. Feed yourself with healthy food like fatty fish with high omega-3s, nuts, and fruits while limiting alcohol consumption, finding purpose and meaning, and finally ending with seeking help when you need, just like the National Institute of Mental Health. Through checking on other websites, I also find that it's kind of repetitive on what they say to people to deal with their own mental health to make it feel healthy for everyone.
Welcome to our interview segment. This segment is dedicated to share opinions from above and below to explain mental health from all perspectives. I will be breaking down the questions asked and complicated terms used in the interviews for easier understanding. Today's interviewee is Dr. Michael A. Gordon. Dr. Michael A. Gordon is a professional therapist with over 26 years of experience. He has a PhD in psychology and certificates from British Columbia School of Professional Psychology and Canadian Humanistic and Transpersonal Association. Let's get started. question, what is the difference between good anxiety and bad anxiety, is asked to allow Dr. Michael A. Gordon to explain how anxiety can actually benefit you in some ways, but can also become an issue when there's too much. Dr. Michael A. Gordon will now explain the difference between good anxiety and bad anxiety.
Go back to what your normal is. So if you were left trying to figure out emotions by yourself or trying to figure out how to deal with an alcoholic parent, that's not normal. That's not a healthy level of stress for a kid, and the kid is going to think that is normal. So they're going to take on stress or feel stressed about everything as an adult and think that's normal. So if we go back to the thing that children in those circumstances are now not having normal developmental processes based on their how they're being parented and what's going on in the baby cries, a mother picks up the baby, neurological pathway and a hormone response are released with endorphins and oxytocin in your brain to say that was good, that worked, that strategy worked, right? So you get to be an adult and you're having a hard time and you call a friend or you go to a professional because you know that's going to work, right? But it has to be experienced and taught. If it's not there, you're going to think, well, every time I'm in trouble and I ask for help, nobody comes. That's how you're going to live your life. Obsessiveness, right? Because you didn't feel secure and safe in your childhood, and so you're constantly wondering if everything's okay. Did I turn off the lights? Did I do a good job? Did I say the right thing? Did I do a good interview? And it's not a bad thing to be obsessive. Good job. I might show up early to things and be over prepared. That's a pretty good trait. But when you're trying to go to sleep and you're trying to relax and watch a movie or enjoy a nice day and go for a walk, being obsessive doesn't serve you. So none of these things are inherently really bad. It's just a question of making them work for you and understanding where they're.
Unfortunately, many people do not have the time or financial freedom to afford professional help immediately when dealing with harmful stress. Suffering from extreme stress or any mental health problem will keep worsening if left alone, as many people don't know what's even happening to them. This is why professional help, due to their knowledge and experience, is ideal for recovery. By asking this question, we give Dr. Michael A. Gordon the opportunity to share his advice to those without the access to professional help.
So let's talk about stress. So people can look this up, but there was a researcher. She did a TED Talk about her research. But her research was really interesting because in her TED Talk, she says that she was a stress researcher for a decade. Her work was all wrong. Putting this big public message out there, stress kills. What she found out is stress is important. It motivates you. Oh boy, I got to pay the rent. So some stress is good, right? But overwhelmed stress and too much stress takes you backwards. So people can't professional help. It depends where they are in that process. If they can find some peer support or insight or activities that make them realize they're not alone in this and give them a sense of safety and that it's normal to not know what the hell you're doing and change course in life and doubt yourself, then you can kind of get a handle on it. But if you're carrying really deep patterns of, we call these distortions, no matter what happens, you always turn against yourself or doubt yourself, you're going to need professional help.
Research from the University of St. August for Health Science, the World Health Organization, Davis Behavioral Health, and Single Care all point towards anxiety being the extremely common, if not the most, out of all mental disorders. We are curious for professional therapist Dr. Michael A. Gordon to give an explanation to why anxiety is the most common. Learning why anxiety is so common can give insights on how to prevent yourself from suffering from anxiety.
Two things. So anxiety is not separate from all the other disorders. If you put anxiety into a broader heading, which is, again, threat, right? That's the way our brain is designed. So it's really a question, it's not a trend so much, it's a good question. Again, a little anxiety is not a bad thing. You're anxious, you want to do a good job. So a little of an edge makes you sharper, right? And makes you kind of recall information and try and be articulate. So anxiety is not an enemy, right? right? It's just that you don't want the anxiety to be driving you. I would say that anxiety has become more widespread, more universal, more recognized in a completely direct relationship to how out of control our society and our world is. You think of anxiety, for example, with children. Kind of, this is a very, very central kind of basic idea about therapy. You may have heard the term cognitive dissonance. It's when you're looking at one thing, but something else is happening. Your brain can't square what's going on. I love you, we really care about you, but you have to go to the school we want you to, or you have to date the person we want you to, or you have to follow the religion we came from. Well, which one is it? Do you love me, which means I should be able to do what I want, or you want me to be who you want me to be? That's really distressing to a child. It throws you into this total confusion.
Depression is also a common mental disorder. That is why it is best to find the most effective method to treat depression. As I mentioned before, ignoring your mental health will just make things worse. With a professional here, we are able to get a knowledgeable answer. Now it would be Dr. Michael A. Gordon's turn to speak on this matter.
Well, again, I can't really speak to that from a place of being able to prescribe medication. But first thing is to understand pharmacology. Pharmacology is the effect, the mechanism of action in the body based on the processes in the body, the inherent processes in the body, what we call endogenous or exogenous, which is, say, pharmaceuticals, right? Could be supplements. So that goes back to the idea of like assessing someone's state. How depressed are you? How anxious are you? How much cravings do you have, right? How much sleep are you getting? You don't necessarily have to take the first approach to that to being medication. Because medication is a very broad approach. It's saying, and this is where things have really been thrown open for many, many years and not based on very much evidence whatsoever. I don't know if you've ever come across this, but there's a kind of an axiom in research, which is correlation is not causation. And what it means is just because things happen around the same time and seem to coincide, it doesn't mean one causes the other. And the big case of this is serotonin.
For those who don't know, serotonin is a chemical messenger that affects mood, sleep, memory, and other bodily functions.
So in early studies, they took people who were depressed and said, they all have a kind of deficit of serotonin, create enough serotonin, But as we know, serotonin is also created through having friends, through having activities you're interested in, feeling good about yourself. And so they said, if we just throw serotonin into these people or give them antidepressants which allow their body to retain the serotonin they have, their symptoms seem to improve. That's assuming that serotonin is the thing.
Now for our latest research segment. A recent study from Murdoch Children Research Institution, or known as the MCRI, tell us that almost 75% of adolescents in Australia experience major and or anxiety symptoms, with 64% of them facing chronic issues. This shows that 1,239 children in Melbourne, ages 10 to 18, find that girls are more at risk, with 84% of them experiencing symptoms at least once, compared to the 61% of boys. The cause of these symptoms often relates to educational stress, such as transitions between grades at school and exam periods. The researchers urge the need to address this major mental health issue.
With that, we have come to the segment of character analysis. In this episode, I want to talk about Joker and one of his most famous quotes, "One bad day." The Joker, Batman's most iconic adversary, is a complex and disturbing figure who has captivated audience for decades. He's just not any simple villain. He's a force of chaos, a symbol of anarchy, and a chilling reflection of darker aspects of human nature. One of the most defining elements of the Joker is his belief that all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. This idea, famously explored in Alan Moore's graphic novel The Killing Joke, suggests that under the right circumstances, anyone can be pushed to their breaking point. The Joker sees himself as proof of this theory, believing that a single traumatic experience transformed him from an ordinary man into a clown prince of crime. This concept of one bad day has significant implications for how we understand mental health. It highlights the fragileness of human psyche and the potential for trauma to have a profound and lasting impact. While it's important to remember that Joker is a fictional character, his philosophy touches on the real-world experiences of mental breakdown and the devastating effects of trauma. In many ways, Joker's descent into madness can be seen as a metaphor for the struggles of those living with mental illness. His erratic behavior, his distorted worldview, and his inability to emphasize with others are all characteristics that can be associated with certain mental health conditions. While it's crucial to avoid equating mental illness with villainy, the Joker's story can be served as a reminder of the importance of empathy and understanding towards those who are struggling. It's also important to note that the one bad day theory is not a complete or accurate representation of mental illness. Mental health is complex and multi-faced, and it's rarely caused by a single event too. Factors such as genetics, environments, and personal history all play a role. However, the Joker's philosophy does highlight the potential for trauma to trigger or exacerbate mental health conditions. The Joker's enduring popularity speaks to our fascination with the darker aspects of human nature. He represents the potential for chaos and destruction that lies within all of us. By exploring the Joker's character and his one bad day philosophy, we can gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of mental health and the importance of empathy and support for those who are struggling. Remember, if you are someone or someone you know is struggling with their mental health, there are resources available. Reach out to a mental health professional or a trusted friend or family member. You are not alone, my friend.
Watching current events can offer several mental health benefits, particularly when approached thoughtfully and with balance. For one, staying informed about global, national, or local issues helps us make more educated decisions about matters that directly affect our lives, be it in areas like health, safety, finances, or politics. This sense of control and awareness can reduce feelings of helplessness and anxiety, especially in times of uncertainty. When we understand what's happening around us, we can act more confidently, whether it's taking necessary precautions, participating in community efforts, or adjusting our personal plans. Additionally, consuming news can foster a sense of connection in an increasingly globalized world. Understanding what others are experiencing, whether it's natural disaster, social movements, or economic shifts, helps us feel less isolated. Knowing others are going through similar challenges can provide a sense of shared experience, and in turn, a sense of belonging. This connection to others can be reassuring, especially in a world that often feels divisive. Staying updated on current events also provide an opportunity for a broader perspective on our own lives. Sometimes seeing the struggles of others can help us put our own problems in context, making them feel more manageable. For example, witnessing global humanitarian efforts or seeing communities recover from crisis can inspire resilience and remind us of our own capacity for strength in tough times. It can also foster empathy, reminding us that everyone faces challenges and we are all part of a larger human story. Finally, current events often highlight important topics related to mental health and wellness, offering a reminder of the importance of self-care, seeking support, or engaging in positive coping mechanisms. For example, discussion around mental health awareness, stress management, and community support can encourage individuals to address their own mental health needs. Similarly, learning about global effects to address mental health issues or support vulnerable population can inspire individuals to take action in their own communities, creating a ripple effect of care and compassion. It's important to approach the news in a balanced way. While staying informed is helpful, too much upsetting or dramatic news can cause anxiety, stress, or burnout. Hearing about negative events, conflicts, or tragedies all the time can make us feel helpless, especially if we don't have time to process it. That's why it's important to take breaks, choose trustworthy news sources, and be mindful of how we take in information. Taking regular breaks from the news can help us protect our mental health and give us time to focus on self-care and staying balanced. In summary, watching current events can have a positive impact on mental health when done in a mindful and balanced way. It offers a sense of empowerment, connection, and purpose, and helps us stay informed and engaged with the world around us. When approached with care and awareness, keeping up with the news can enhance our mental well-being and provide valuable opportunities for growth and resilience.
To our Mindset Tip segment. This is where we take a moment to boost our mental health and mindset with the practical exercises you can easily incorporate into your daily life, just like podcasts such as Happier with Gretchen Rubin at the Happiness Lab. We believe in the power of small changes to create a big impact. So let's dive into today's tips that will help you feel better and think more positively. Exercise number 1, negative to positive. Our first exercise is about transforming negative thoughts into positive ones. We all have those moments when self-doubt creeps in, right? Take a moment to think of a negative thought you have had recently. It could be something like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. Now, let's reframe that thought. For example, if you wrote down, I'm not good enough, try changing it to, I'm learning and improving every day. This simple shift in perspective can help you cultivate a more positive mindset. To make this a habit, I encourage you to keep a small notebook or use your phone to jot down these negative thoughts as they arise and then practice reframing them over time. This will train your brain to focus on the positives instead of the negatives. Exercise number 2, gratitude journaling. Next up is gratitude journaling. Research shows that practicing gratitude can significantly improve your mental well-being. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. Maybe it is the warmth of your morning coffee, a kind word from a friend, or simply enjoying a beautiful sunset. If you're unsure where to start, there are some prompts. What made you smile today? Who are you thankful for in your life? What is something you love about yourself? Try to do this at the same time each day, perhaps in the morning before starting your day, or at the night as a way to reflect. This practice shifts you focus from what's lacking in your life to what's abundant, creating a more positive outlook overall. Exercise 3, mindful breathing. Now, let's move on to our final exercise, mindful breathing. This is a fantastic way to calm your mind and reduce stress, especially when life feels overwhelming. Let's try it together now. Find a comfortable position, sit or standing, and close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 counts. Hold that breath for 4 counts. Now exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. Let's repeat that 2 more times. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Feel free to continue this practice whenever you need a moment of calm throughout your day. It only takes a few minutes but can make a significant difference in how you feel. Thank you for joining us for today's mindful tips. Remember, these exercises are tools you can use anytime to enhance your mental well-being and foster a positive mindset. Tune in next time for more inspiration and practice advice. Until then, take care of yourself and keep shifting towards positivity.
In episode 2, we'll do a deep dive into stress, anxiety, and depression, exploring how they affect us and impact our daily lives. Now, for our closing credits. Research and scriptwriting, Ash, Nathan, Meher, Oscar, Uday. Audio editing, Meher, and a special thanks to Dr. Michael Gordon and our listeners, of course.